Right folks, so we're doing another Mark 7 GTI video. It's been ages. I think the last one we did was the wave track install. And before that it was a Bilston suspension. So there's been a lot of handling related stuff. Today we're going to be addressing the brakes, which are standard GTI ones. And we're also going to be fitting a few exterior bits. I've been using it mainly as a daily. Car's been pretty much flawless apart from the fact that it had a big coolant leak. But I'm pretty sure that was there in the last videos. It turned out to be the water pump and thermostat. Usual sketch for an EA 888, so got that changed. Now, of course, being the cheapest Mark 7 GTI in the UK at the time I bought it, you fix one element of the car and another thing breaks in return. So yeah, the dashboard is currently lit up like a Christmas tree. It's not a big fault, but we'll head inside now. I'll show you the codes it's got and explain to you how we're going to fix it. So I've gone ahead and turned the car on so I can show you all the errors on the screen here. We've got all the main ones pretty much at this point. We've got the traction light, we've got the tyre pressure monitor light, we've got the ABS light. That's the ACC sensor in the center there. There's an error for the hill hold assist. This parking sensor button as well sometimes goes on and off. Now, to figure out what's going on with the car, we are going to scan it with this device from Carly. They are the sponsors for today's video, which is pretty cool considering I have actually been using their products for quite a few years now. If you've seen some of my past content, you'll recognize that I used to plug this little thing into the Mark 5s and stuff like that whenever I need to find out fault codes. So this was the VAG Plus one, but they've sent me out this universal scanner, so it works with a variety of different manufacturers. Essentially what you do is you plug it directly into the OBD port, let it connect up to your phone. Right, so I've got the Carly app loaded up on my phone. As you can see on the homepage here, we've got a bunch of options. The main features being health, which is diagnostics. We've got customization, which is essentially coding, and we've got the used car check. So we'll begin with health just to see what all these fault codes are. So I'm just going to check for it now, give it a few minutes and we see what's what. Right, so diagnostics is done. It's saying it's very bad and it's got 33 issues found. Now, I'll be honest, a bunch of these fault codes are from a dead battery, so I'm not too concerned. Okay, so light and rain sensor. Okay, I knew about that one. Fuel tank flap. Okay, yeah, none of these things are new to me. ABS brakes. Okay, so yeah, there's that culprit, a wheel speed sensor. Now, if you know your VWs and you've had a wheel speed sensor go out on you, you'll know that the dash literally lights up like a Christmas tree once one of them packs up. Now, because I do actually prepare for these videos in advance, I'd already scanned the car with Carly a few days ago. So I went ahead and bought a Bosch rear ABS sensor. So we're going to be fitting this today. Should be a nice and easy fix. Right, so now that we're done with diagnostics, I want to head over to the customization part of the app. It's going to check for coding possibilities. So I've got a pretty huge list of things we could do to the car. So this is under the central electronics part of the coding. But the main one I want to sort of draw your guys' attention to is this menu on the screen here on the car. So as you can see under lighting, we've got no setup for DRLs. So as you guys know, these things have those U-shaped DRLs which are always on. So we're going to do that now. So here it is, enable menu DRL. We're going to code that and I'm going to show you in real time of it being added to the screen there. And there we have it. The daytime running lights toggle has been added. So we can switch those U-shaped DRLs on and off as we please. Now, the other main feature of the app is the used car check. Comes in very handy when viewing a second-hand vehicle. My most important check is the mileage. And as we can see here, it says there's no higher reported mileage than what's already indicated on the instrument cluster, which means it's all sound. Checks a variety of different data points around the car, stuff like the VIN, and yeah, it'll essentially tell you if there's any red flags with the car. So yeah guys, make sure you go ahead and check out Carly. Like I said, I have been using the product for a few years now and it has come in handy a number of times. Big shout out to them again for sponsoring today's video. They've also given me my own special link which is in the description right now. They'll save you 15% off your next order. But yeah, let's get cracking with the Mark 7 video, fit some bits of the exterior. To start off, we've got these GTI performance calipers. This being a regular GTI, it's got the smaller ones, which I'll show you now, might as well. So slightly smaller diameter disc as well. And yeah, these ones in particular, the pads are finished and these discs have got quite a big lip on them. Now these calipers are the same as what you get on something like a Mark 7R, so there's nothing too different there. The main area where we're going to sort of be changing stuff is these discs. So these are from a GTI Club Sport S, obviously a Mark 7. Slightly different, slightly lighter, but they're still 340 millimeters. We're going to be fitting some Ferrado DS2500 pads with them and some stainless steel lines from HEL. And on the visual side of things, I've got a genuine GTI Club Sport diffuser as well. It comes in two parts. Wildlife's going mad. And we've got a Maxton rear lip spoiler. In terms of the rear brakes, we're going to leave them as they are because whilst they do look a bit crusty in the center here, pad's got plenty of life on it and the disc has zero lip on it. We'll begin with the slightly easier bits. We'll sort of take off this rear diffuser. We'll fit the rear lip spoiler and we'll also fix the ABS sensor, which I had a look on VCDS to get a bit more information. It's a rear left one that needs addressing. The first things first, wheel off. Pretty stuck on there. Okay, the spigot rings come off as well. Right, we'll leave that there because I'm gonna have to put it back on anyway. So the wheel speed sensor is behind there. There's a T30. Right, so that's loosened there. You probably could just see my arm here, but it's quite a straightforward job really. There's a sort of VAG style connector on it and a T30 holding the bracket on. Okay, pry tool did the job. It's all about leverage, folks, all about leverage. I was getting ready to get out the hammer then. And there we have it, a faulty ABS sensor, fair bit of dust on there. And here they are side by side, so all looks pretty identical. Yeah, let's get fitted in. Right, so I'm filming this clip about a day after the stuff you just saw about the wheel speed sensor. Got a little heads up about the Bosch one from Euro Car Parts. Don't buy it, get a genuine one. Reason being, it might look identical, but after the video I turned the car on and the error codes on the dash were still there, and I scanned it with VCDS and it said incorrect part installed. So literally just now in the last half an hour, I just come back from the dealership, had to fork out a bit more for a genuine one. It actually looks a bit different to the original one, but yeah, if I show you now, there you go, all the warning lights have gone. So yeah, just get a genuine one. Right, so now that the ABS sensor is done, we're going to move on to the diffuser. It should be a nice and easy replacement. All right, so first T20. There we have it, diffuser off and a ton of mud. Probably save a bit of weight on the car now. For those wondering, the Edition 40 stroke Club Sport S diffuser, which is what this is, fits directly on any GTI, uses all the existing mounting points, nothing new or complex, easy to do at home. Seems like it's scratched, man. I don't know how that happened. Definitely wasn't me. It's been in the shed for about 3 months. And now the finishing touch, the sort of diffuser element of the diffuser. Looks like it just clips in. So weirdly enough, this bit of the diffuser here has this extra piece for which there's no slot for it to go into. So I'm considering just chopping it off, because you've got 2 slots there. But then you've got this random tab, which is just going to hit that and not going to let it sit in. So I went and took a Dremel to my brand new Club Sport diffuser here, cut that tab off. Look at that. Bit of DIY, even though you'd expect it just to be a direct fit. Right, so the roof spoiler, I've got the tripod on like a crazy high setting, but essentially what it is, it's a Maxton rear lip, so sticks on with 3M tape. Now, if you're wondering why I haven't done a Club Sport spoiler, essentially you can't just stick one on the back of a normal GTI tailgate. The Edition 40 and Club Sport S spoiler is actually based off the regular Golf tailgate, so you'll be looking at well over £1,000 just to do a spoiler, but of course we need to clean it first. Right, best bit. Right, so it's the next day, simply because it starts raining in the UK at a minute's notice and I had to stop everything. So here we are, the rear part of the car is all done. We might also be taking off the bumper shortly as well, because I've got a splitter. If it arrives in time for this video, I'll put it on as well. Now, this whole process of changing the brakes over is a bit of deja vu for me, because I actually put Mark 7 Golf R brakes on my Mark 5 GTI a few years ago, and I always used to get the question about whether they are straight fit. They are a straight fit. But yeah, as a general sort of outline of what we're going to be doing, there's obviously 2 bigger bolts holding this bracket onto the hub, and then there's 2 that sort of hold this caliper on. So nothing too complicated. There's a little torque screw there as well holding the brake disc on. If you look back here, you can use a T45, or you can obviously use a socket on this, depends what you want to do. Obviously the Torx is a bit easier to strip it, but if you loosen it first, I'm going to show you that this bit here is going to start spinning now. So we're going to use lock-in pliers on here to sort of stop it from moving. Right, so now that that's out the way, we need to remove these 2 21mm bolts. This is what's holding this bracket on. Now, if you're going to be keeping your brake lines, do be careful. You could probably tie it up to there on the coil there. I'm going to be replacing these with the steel lines anyway, but irrespective of that, I'm not going to just let it dangle down. So these, I did put a lot of WD-40 on them last night, but we're going to need to get the breaker bar out and try and crack them off, and then we'll take it off with a gun. Right, so standing up probably helps. And this one. There we go. Oh yeah, of course, we've got our pads, which I'll show you the condition of now. They are pretty shocking, to be honest. Check that out, folks. Plenty of pad life on that. Right, so for the brake line there, to loosen it off, for you to be able to pull it off, you need to use an 11mm spanner. You can use a normal one potentially, but I prefer to use a flare nut one. You can see the top bit's slightly different. So that's the 11mm there. As you can see, as I'm loosening it, brake fluid's dripping down. One way to do it. And there we have it. Caliper and line loose. And now we've got this here, which is a T27, I believe. I thought it was a T30, but for some reason it's not. Do it manually because it's so easy to strip. So there we have it. Stock discs off. Right, so because we've got a new wheel bearing here, this is all relatively fresh. There's only a bit of like surface corrosion. It's nothing too crazy, but I can guarantee you if it's not a new wheel bearing, it ain't gonna look like this. Still use a ton of brake cleaner, so clean up all the sort of mounting points that you're going to be using. I mean, normally I'll pull out one of these to clean the surface. The main benefit of using a Club Sport S disc over say a standard Mark 7R disc is they are 900 grams lighter. So just a bit of an extra little benefit there, and they look pretty cool as well. These are the standard lines as well, and that's the new stainless steel ones that I'm going to be putting on also. Right, so after you've cleaned it, of course, get the new discs on. Yep, that's tight enough. You've probably noticed I've got no backing plate. It's personal preference. I know it's there on the standard one and you're probably thinking, why do you reuse this? Well, this only fits the smaller brake disc. So I've opted to just remove them entirely. I've had issues with them in the past and them, you know, rattling and stuff like that. So I'm just going to run them without. What we're going to do now is basically exactly what I did before, but in the opposite form. Right, these are the Ferodo DS2500 pads. I'll be honest, I've never used them before. I went on the forums and searched what's a good pad to use that's like a fast road and maybe occasional track, and everyone was raving about these. So worth a shot. I can't recommend them yet because I haven't used them yet, but we shall see. Main thing you want to do when you're fitting these calipers, I know this is a really basic point, make sure you get the sides the right way around so you don't use the other side's caliper on this side. You want to make sure the bleed nipple is on the top when it's like that. I've seen some people fit them the other way around or use the other side's caliper, and somehow they've managed to get that on the bottom and then they can't get any brake feel, which is obvious. So it's the same deal with the brake line. You want to route it through here. Now ideally I should have torqued these back 21mm before I put the caliper on, but no matter, we've still got space. So these two at the back, you want to put them to around 150 pound-feet. That's what I read on a guide on FCP Euro, and they're obviously quite a good site, so I believe them. And then these caliper pin ones are obviously a lot less. They recommend 26 pound-feet, so you're gonna have to lock them obviously. There we go. Right, so the hardware is all fitted on this side. It's all torqued up. Obviously the HEL line's very nice. Such a big upgrade this is. I mean, look how much more fancier that looks. Obviously I'll report on the performance as we go along and I use them a bit more. What I'll do, I'll just quickly get the other side done so you don't have to see this all again. The next stage now, obviously we've fitted all this hardware, we need to bleed the brakes. Each car has its own way of bleeding the brakes and methodology and all that stuff, but we're actually going to start with this side and then do that side. We're not touching the rear brakes today. I'm going to use this one-man pressurizing system, so it saves me having to have another person in there pressing on the brake pedal and all that stuff. Going to be using RBF 600. Brake reservoir is pretty much empty now. Whatever was in there has leaked out, so we're going to top this up a bit and then I'm going to put some in there, push this up to 20 psi. Now what that'll do, that'll pressurize the system. It'll show me if there's any leaks with what I've fitted, and then we'll open this up and start bleeding it. Right, so that's been connected for the last 10 minutes at 20 psi, the whole braking system. Haven't spotted any leaks, so we would have seen a few puddles under the car in addition to the ones that are already there. There's no dripping. Now I went ahead and got the dust caps off here and I've got this connected up so we can start the bleeding process. All I'm going to be looking at is for pockets of air. All right, it's coming out. Little pockets of air you can see. Quite a bit there. Right, so it doesn't look like there's any more pockets of air, so I'm going to close this now because I think this is bled. If there's any issues, I'll have a look at it afterwards, but that's generally the process. Obviously you don't take it exactly how I did it because each car is different or whatever, but that's the way I do it. And if it doesn't work, I'll have a go again. Right, so now that the bleeding process for both sides have been done, the splitter that I was going to put on has arrived. It's a TRC one. Now to do this properly, I'm going to take the front bumper off because I can't be arsed lying under there drilling holes. Bumper's off, just a bunch of T20s to get it all removed. There's actually nowhere else for it to go. It's perfectly snug against the contours of the bumper. Well, let's get the drill out. Seems to be doing the job. All right, cool. I'll just continue it with the rest of them. Got these nylock nuts on each end. I didn't use these when fitted the M140i body kit, as you guys might remember, but utilized 2 on this one, and then the middle ones, they'd pretty much drilled in, so they ain't going nowhere. Let's have a look. Those are very graceful. Yeah, that does look pretty cool, to be honest. I am going to take that little sticker off. I'm not a fan of these stickers. That's reassuring. All the little bits on the GTI. I'm looking at the car right now. I think what I'll do, I'll insert a little cinematic first, and then I'll show you around it. looks, I'm not gonna lie, that's literally exactly how I'd want to do a Mark 7. It's actually perfect. Every last bit of it, all the little details, they're just all adding up to make one huge difference. Love the fact this car's got a panoramic roof because it just follows that line with that rear spoiler now. But just before we go, there's one last thing I need to do, and that is take these horrible plates off. You're probably thinking, what's going on the car? Well, we're putting R55 OPF on it. I know it doesn't really make sense for this thing, but I couldn't find a decent Mark 7 plate, and I've got this thing until another car that's going to wear this is going to arrive, so that'll do. Now we just need to make the car as quick as the RS3. Right, so I think this is a good place to end today's video. I've done all the bits that I need to do. But yeah, make sure you subscribe for a lot more content to come. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'll just catch you in another one in a few days' time.